Welcome back, one and all, to Trails to Azure. I am the TheDarkSeraph. Last time, that's Lecter and Claudia. Yeah, these two have a history. I see. And that's when you ran into Lucy. Yep. I was only in Rimaferia on business, too. I guess she caught wind. I tried to run, but she caught me. Yeesh, I must be losing my touch. Yeah, he has... She's speaking about a person from Rimaferia. They all went to school together at the Genus Royal Academy. Can you even guess how many bonks on the head she gave me? Not a one. She hugged you, instead with tears in her eyes, didn't she? Damn it. I could tell exactly how Lucy feels, you know. She's probably well aware of just how dangerous your day-to-day job is. I'm sure she's worried sick. A woman's intuition is no joke. Makes my spine tingle. There's way too many single mothers for that to be true. I never do know how to handle them. Maybe. But you brought it upon yourself. This really does take me back. It's been a long time since I've seen Leo too. I'd love for us to have a reunion. Why the long face, Lecter? Isn't this the part where you say, yeah, let's all have a bash at Michelin and party till we drop? Not a bad impression. No promises, but I'll see what I can do. Just don't hold your breath, alright? I know, but you won't be able to stop me from looking forward to it anyway. Now then, I should be going, if you'll excuse me. No prob. And hey, don't forget to say hi to Sieg for me. I still owe him for that salami. Damn, she's really into her own. So, in Trails in the Sky the Third, you can actually play a flashback as Claudia when they're at the Genus Royal Academy. The Burl couldn't ask for a better crown princess. You guys think so too, right? Busted! Sorry, we didn't mean to eavesdrop. We didn't hear much, I assure you. Didn't you, Ellie? You seemed very invested in their relationship from where I was standing. Tio! Well, she ain't the only one. You and the princess seem close, so what's the story there? I was her upperclassman back in school. Prep. School. Not the Sunday school. The Genus Royal Academy. Genus Royal Academy, that's one of the Burl's most prestigious intuitions. That's right. It's not unheard of for them to accept students from abroad, but... Did you really study there on taxpayer dollars? Nah. Old man Gilead paid my tuition out of pocket. Well, it's about time I hit the dusty old trail myself. Oh, that reminds me. You get called in to talk to the head honchos. They're both real pains in the ass to deal with, so good luck in there. Could he be any more sketchy if he tried? Who'd have thought the next Queen of Liberl went to school with an Imperial spy? Truth is stranger than fiction, as they say. Open up this water. Whatever the case, we can't forget that he's a subordinate to the Blood and Iron Chancellor. As for what he's after personally, I think we'll have to figure that out for ourselves. Personally, I think he's just after a purpose. Oh, there's Prince Albert. We're done deliberating for now, but I'm absolutely exhausted after facing both Osborne and Rocksmith at once. Oh, don't sell yourself short, your lordship. You've grown quite capable of commanding the room when needed. I'd say your predecessor should be proud of the way you handled yourself. It's been 5 years since I ascended to the throne. Rimiferia's domestic order has finally been secured. But I've much to learn as a statesman. Oh, look who it is. Thank you again for your help yesterday. Good afternoon, Special Support Section. Pardon our interruption. I did hear about being added to today's security detail. We appreciate your service. It's my understanding that you were once saved Speaker McDowell's life. It would seem we're in good hands. Unlike the first half, I suspect the faults of Crossbell's state will thrust into the spotlight one after another, to which the major powers will no doubt be demanding as they've ever been. However, I'm also concerned about Dieter. During our latest diet session, he was rather enthusiastic about introducing some truly radical ideas. Such drives comes from youth, and I do respect that. However, I worry about what direction it might take us today. I hadn't thought about that. Mr. Grimward alluded to Mayor Croix having some kind of plan for the last half of the conference. I can't profess too much of the details myself, but I'm certain he'll bring it up to the table sooner rather than later. What Mayor Croix is scheming is a bit concerning. Hello, Claudia. May I ask you a question, Sieg? How do you suppose grandmother would have handled this if she had been the one to come? You have a point. I suppose I can't help being the way I am. Oh, hello, SSS. Sorry for interrupting, Your Highness. It's nothing to concern yourselves over. I was merely thinking aloud. To be honest, I'm glad you could visit. Are you also concerned over what may happen during the second half of the conference? Partially, yes, but I was actually reflecting on something a tad broader. As Crown Princess, I have a fair bit of knowledge when it comes to diplomatic negotiations. But to be a good negotiator takes many skills, insight, judgment, and objectivity, for instance. The first half of the conference made me painfully aware that I still have room for growth in those particular areas. So that's what's bothering you. Give yourself some credit. Knowing where you can improve is half the battle. That's right. You're still only as old as Lloyd, Ellie, and myself, Your Highness. You're an inspiration, if you ask me. It's very kind of you to say. Still, being timid in a room like that is unavoidable at this stage in my career. But the continent's troubles wait for no one. I, nevertheless, have to learn at my own pace and take everything in stride. That's a good approach, and don't forget to cut loose and relax every now and then. Like now, for example. You only get one intermission, it'd be a shame to waste it. Wazzy, I swear to God, if you're thinking of inviting her out for a drink, or worse, it's alright. I was never one for excessive formalities. The lack of is quite relaxing, actually. Now that I think about it, perhaps nostalgic is a better word. When I'm around you, I feel as if I'm speaking with Estelle, Joshua, and the rest of our friends. I'm not sure we really compare, Your Highness. Well, I'd have to disagree with you on that. Ah, yes. Would any of you care to proceed? I'm afraid we don't have time. As much as we'd love to, we have somewhere else we have to be. My apologies. I should have anticipated that. I won't keep you any longer. Having tea with a pretty girl would be a lot better than two corrupt politicians. Just saying. I've been expecting you. You're the Crossbell Police Department Special Support Section. We are. Is this the President's room? Yes, I've been instructed to let you pass. Oh, it's been a rough week. Quit your fluttering. Excuse us, Mr. President. We were told you requested to meet with the Special Support Section. Ah, thank you all for coming. But please, no need to be all pomp and circumstance. Go ahead and have a seat. Sure. That's very kind of you, Mr. President. My invitation must have come as quite a shock to you. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy agendas for this. But I imagine you must be very busy yourselves. Oh, not at all. It's been an honor just to be in your presence. You're Speaker McDowell's granddaughter, isn't that right? We met once at a celebration of some sort, if I recall correctly. Oh, that's right. We first spoke back when I had the opportunity to visit Calvert with my grandfather. That was 2 years back. Oh yes, now I remember. You know, I was surprised to hear your grandfather chose to take up the post of Speaker instead of seeking re-election. I truly admire how passionate he still is at his age. He's a model statesman, if I may say so. I'm sure Grandfather would be flattered to hear that. Not to change the subject, Mr. President, but what was it you called us here for? Well, truth be told, I already heard all about you from the SSS from Kalika. This year's Schwarz auction sounded like quite the affair, wouldn't you say? Frankly, former Speaker Hartman and I were never on the best of terms. Selfish as it may seem, I've been eager to meet the group that tipped the first dominoes that led to his downfall. We're honored, sir. But, real talk, we didn't much care for the guy that just couldn't stop shooting himself in the foot. Very true, he made his own bed the day he became involved with the cult. Yes, who could forget them? The DG cult. Their treachery spread across the entire continent, but no nation was more affected than my own. I owe you my thanks for putting a stop to them once and for all. I'm not so sure about that. That cult dates back hundreds, if not thousands of years. I would not be surprised if in future games that cult is still lingering in the shadows. You're welcome, but really, we were only doing our jobs. Honestly, I'd say our contributions didn't really amount to much of anything in the long run. No need to be so humble, my boy. I've heard things were dire, even in your Guardian Force was manipulated. Yes, in the face of it all, you still managed to quash the cult and keep that little girl safe. Great goddess in the sky above. Those are no small achievements to speak of. You flatter us, Mr. President. True. I'm not sure how much we deserve I'm not sure we deserve such high praise. Oh, but you had Crossbow fallen to the cult, I don't know what would have become of us all. If those dastardly villains took hold of the IBC, international trade and finance would have come to a screeching halt. And I'm sure you don't need me to tell you how severe consequences that would be for the economy. All the more reason I'd like to acknowledge your valor. I think the fitting thing to do would be to award you each with a medal. Yes, that sounds perfect. I'll have the arrangements made as soon as I return to the Republic. No, you don't have to do all that. Is it even appropriate for citizens of Crossbow to receive awards from the Republican government? I mean, it's not unheard of for a foreigner to receive an award in a different state or country. After all, Larry Torn earned a Bronze Star, an Iron Cross, and a Purple Heart in his service to the Finnish, German, and American military during the Winter War and into World War II. Larry Torn's his name. The soldier of three armies knows the game. Besides, we already got more recognition than I could handle from old Granddad McDowell. Truly. I don't see any faux pas to be had about that. Your troubles are your own as well. After all, the Republic does hold itself... Okay. Yeah, they have a monorum of control over Crossbell. After all, it's autonomous, not independent. Now keep your faces like that, and they'll stay like that. You received an invitation from our friend, the Blood and Iron Chancellor, did you not? I would be delighted to speak with you all more, but I think my turn is over. And not to fear, I see to it that you receive those awards we spoke of. Keep an eye out for them, all of you. He's definitely a bold one, I'll give him that. He truly is something, isn't he? Exactly what I expect of a major political figure. Capable and devilishly cunning. Could you at least wait until we're not standing in front of his room, Wazzy? To be fair, the President never made much of an effort to hide it. I doubt he was intentionally trying to place pressure on us, but that doesn't change the fact that he did. I think he was trying to keep up appearances more than anything. As Calvert's president, it would be good to publicly honor the ones who were credited with resolving the cult incident. My God, why can I not speak? Not to mention, he said that Crossbell's troubles were theirs as well, which reaffirms that he sees Calvert as Crossbell's rightful owners. Man, you're telling me that the whole reason he called us in there? These big shot leaders got egos as wide as their country's borders. Without a doubt, even Diet members from the autonomous state like this have nothing on them. Yeah, that's a bit terrifying. Hello, Vander. Julia. It's good to see you again, SSS. Do you have a status update to make? Nothing to report for now. How about you two? Have you learned anything? Unfortunately not. Things have been quiet thus far. We're exhausting every avenue on the Erebonian side of things as well, but unfortunately, neither the nobles nor the reformists are intent on giving us any leads to work with. Prince Oliver mentioned the possibility of creating a third faction. It's been on my mind ever since. If you wouldn't mind, Major, could you tell me more about his intentions? Ellie. Well, it's only natural you'd be curious. I'm not supposed to say much, but I don't think there'll be any harm in sharing a bit with you. To put it metaphorically, you could say the prince is attempting to shatter some long-standing barriers. Barriers, huh? There's something we're all too familiar with. Basically, the incorrigible differences between the noble and reformist factions. But that won't stop him. He aims to have the two of them come to terms anyway, as absurd as that sounds. The prince is trying to get the reformist and noble factions to reconcile. I understand his starry-eyed idealism. Isn't the divide between the two sides as wide as Dorelia Canyon? Ozzy, don't be rude. He's absolutely right. Still, the prince has committed himself to dancing toe-to-toe with a monster despite how ludicrous it may appear. He's fully aware of what people call him behind his back. A showy, debaucherous bastard prince whose only concern is leisurely wants. Yes, that's not even an informal way to refer to him. He is a bastard son. He is born of a common-born mother who never married into the imperial family. She never wanted to. But when she passed, he was adopted into the Arnor family. Let them talk. I've decided to stand by him regardless. That's admirable. The prince will always be an ally in Libero, Major Mueller, just as Princess Claudia has stated. We may not always be able to intervene directly, but we'll assist you both in any way we can. It's also funny seeing these two together, considering the game likes to poke fun that they like each other. That must be the Chancellor's room. The intermission will likely be over by the time we're done speaking with him. Yeah, so if you want to talk to anybody else, now's the time. And there's Olivert and Dieter. I see we share the same hopes for the bright men and women that will one day lead our people. Indeed, what's truly special about them is their hearts and minds, so pure yet fertile, like a garden basking in the morning dew. That's why more and more of... Oh, good afternoon, Special Support Section. Care to join our chat? Sure, if we're not interrupting, that is. What were the two of you discussing? His Highness happens to be on the board of directors for a prestigious military academy in Erebonia. We were just discussing the finer details in his duties. The board of directors. Those would be the individuals responsible for how the school is operated. Damn, that's one hell of a side gig. It's just another one of my many schemes to get my name out there is all. I think the mayor here has contributed far more than I have. You're involved too, Mayor Croyce? He simply meant as a business partner. The IBC is the Epstein Foundation's benefactor, and it just so happens that the Foundation is part of the major test being held at the Academy. Really? I had no idea. That does remind me, I heard that the orbital network tests have also begun in the Empire. No surprise the continent's largest bank has clout in every country in some form. Quite right. I dare say our little talk today was performed by the goddess herself, was preordained by the goddess herself. Why can I not fucking read, apparently? What do you say to being a guest lecturer at the Academy one day if the opportunity arises? Though I'll have to warn you that fancy faculty-student relations are strictly prohibited. The way you say that almost makes it sound like you're encouraging it. An amusing fellow like yourself must be quite popular, Prince Oliver. I may just have to steal you away for a night of drinks once this is all over. I would love nothing more, my friend. We'll have a rousing good time, you and me. It looks like His Highness and Uncle Dieter have really hit it off. You're the SSS, correct? From Crossbell? Go right on in. His Excellency is expecting you. Don't keep him waiting. Excuse us, Chancellor Osborne. We received word that you wish to speak with us. Do come in. Magnificent view, isn't it? It's fascinating to think that mankind built a structure like this to look down on the world below. These walls in which we stand are proof that we finally attained the glory the ancient civilization once held. So they are. Are you referring to the ancient Sumerians from over 1200 years ago? Everything I've heard about them makes it sound like they were more or less had magic at their fingertips. Theirs wasn't necessarily a utopia, mind you. During last year's Liberal incident, a large floating city appeared over the kingdom. The city was constructed before the Great Collapse, yet was sealed away by human hands. It was a symbol of mankind's potential, as well as its hubris. Our potential and hubris. You seem very well informed, man. Oh, I wouldn't say I know everything. As far as Crossbell is concerned, I haven't discovered nearly as much as that priest, Joachim Gunther, did. How do you... It's what we don't know that lends weight to the affairs in this world. If you had everything in the palm of your hand, life as we live, it would be helplessly mundane. Don't you agree, Mr. Hemisphere? Oh, so you know of me. Or do you? I get the sense my name is the only dirty little... I get the sense my name is the only dirty little secret of mine you've uncovered. That would simply mean that you have none worthy of capturing my attention. No, my interests lie more in the realm of the war god. More specifically, his successor. Yeah. That Imperial Intelligence Division. Their ability to gather information is second to none. But where are my manners? I am Gileath Osborne, representative of the Empire of Arabonia. I've heard much about you from Lecter. Care to join me for a friendly chat before the intermission ends? Well, very well then, Chancellor. What is it you wanted to discuss with us? You already seem to be all too aware of everything that's happening right now. No need to overthink it. This is nothing more than a civil conversation. There is something I would like to hear your opinions on, however. I'll be frank. How long do you think your precious crossbell will last? Bit of a loaded question, isn't it? On the contrary, I bear no ill intentions. History tells us that no political entity can last in perpetuity. And that's discounting the Orbital Revolution, which has accelerated all aspects of the contemporary world. How much longer can a land as contested as Crossbell withstand the coming turbulence of this era? I'm not sure. Forever. As long as there are citizens in this state who have the will to protect it. Noel. True. Little matters more than having a solid will, a resolve, one might say. One Teen is all too familiar with if you played Cold Steel 3 and 4. There are rare instances in time when trends are bucked and the course of the history itself is changed. The people are never truly powerless. I doubt the potential their resolve can hold. Then you agree. But consider this. What happens when two opposing resolves clash? It's simple. The lesser of the two would be engulfed, fanning the flames of a people hotter still. Now, suppose those hell-born fires were to emerge again and again across this land. The ingenuity of morality itself would be smelted in the sneering heat until the world itself was ablaze. Such a phenomenon would surely be easy for you to imagine, would it not? I can understand now Crossbell's resolve might seem lesser compared to that of the Empire or the Republic. But even a small flame is capable of burning bright. It's not a foregone conclusion that the larger will engulf it, just as it wasn't when the Liberal army repelled the Imperial. That's right, it was 12 years ago during the 100 Days' War. Well played. Resolve was ultimately a question of tenacity. Liberal was small but tenacious. It overcame the shambolic effort the Empire put forward. There is much Crossbell could stand to glean from that moment in time. However, I remain unconvinced that the Crossbellians uphold the same pride and conviction that the people of Liberal do. I'll leave things at that. Our intermission is coming to a close. It almost slipped my mind. Don't expect any medals from the Imperial government. The nobility grows even more irksome when it comes to giving to awards to commoners. And that's why he's the head of the Reformist Party. He despises the nobility and their arrogance. Consider yourselves fortunate. I rarely see His Excellency in such an agreeable mood. What? Seriously, is that what you call it? It seems he's taken a liking to you. I understand that it may be a tough pill to swallow, but I suggest you accept what he had to say. Though, perhaps it isn't my place to tell you that, given my position. That was horrible. That man's a damn monster. Either way, we can't let it get to us. We have to take his perspective at face value. Tio, are you okay? I'll be fine. The imagery he invoked was a little too vivid. I got lightheaded, was all. I can't blame you. Even I could feel those flames he kept talking about breathing down my neck. Calling the Blood and Iron Chancellor a monster is putting things lightly. He believes he holds the whole of Crossbell in the palm of his hand. Maybe. But I'm not so sure he called us here to torment us, believe it or not. The same goes for President Rocksmith. I think the interest they've taken to us is genuine, for better or worse. Let's just take care of what it's been, a learning experience. That's one way to look at it. I think we could all take a page out of your book once in a while. No kidding, leave it to Lloyd to make a near empty glass half full. But he's right. There's no way we can let this slow us down. That same day, 4:30 p.m. I don't know why that's so dim on my screen. It's not dim over there. My TV might be on the last fucking legs. Chancellor Osborne and President Rocksmith continued to raise question after biting question, each one aimed at Crossbell's security and future. As the conversation wore on, the looks on Mayor Croy's and Speaker McDowell's faces became even more sullen and stern. The heart of the problem is that lone cult was able to cause so much public disorder in a single night, no less. Moreover, half of Crossbell's State Guard fell under their control, quite literally at that. Such a failure of security is unprecedented. Be that as it may, I was under the impression that we had already covered this in full detail. The details are not what is in question. It is the quality of your state's crisis management that so concerns me. You cannot deny the extent to which that incident endangered the lives and property of Imperial citizens in your borders. What do you say to that? Now just hold on a moment, Chancellor. Reparations and redresses in the wake of a cult incident have already been administered. Demanding further mirror on top of that will only serve to cast Ereboni in a most unfavorable light. Monetary compensation is not the issue either, Your Highness. The Crossbell state government has still yet to answer how it can comprehensively guarantee its security. There is a need to protect the lives and property and economic interests of all those in and tied to Crossbell. Can such potential truly be assured from a state constantly mirrored in political gridlock? A state so susceptible to a top-down corruption. He's got a point. Pardon me, but I heard former Speaker Hartman was immediately removed from office upon his corruption coming to light. Crossbell's political system has proven perfectly capable of self-correction. Would a new security framework not suffice? What's to happen if those in power are all corrupt, though? Sure, they can expose one, but what happens when all of them are in each other's pocket? I must disagree, your lordship. Surely you don't believe it would be that easily. Thank you, Rocksmith. Crossbell's political foundation is prone to corruption by nature. I, of course, acknowledge that Mayor Croix and Speaker McDowell have nothing less than outstanding statesmen. But what will happen to Crossbell when they're gone? How quickly would things regress without their leadership? I apologize for my cynicism here, but corruption and government have long been inalienable. It is true not only Crossbell, but of my own kingdom as well. Taking that into consideration, would it not be best for us to observe whether the Speaker and Mayor can bring about political reform during their terms? Pardon me for saying so, Your Highness, but I believe that is rather naive of you. I understand why you would be hopeful. However, the state of Crossbell cannot be so easily compared to a monarchy such as Liberal. Undermining the political system of a land that has no central or traditional authority is a simple feat. History has proven that time and time again. That may be true, but if I may, my native Calvard is founded upon an honorable republic charter in lieu of a monarchy. It was an impressive undertaking by various powers and groups that gathered after our revolution 100 years ago. With that charter in place, our country knows our system can survive with dignity, even if it too may at times be stricken with corruption. So you say, but it's not as though our autonomous state is without its pride and honor. I may concede that in our state's young history, imperfection in its design may come to light. But so too is it indisputable that we have been improving upon it slowly but surely. Mr. Grimwood, may I ask you how many additional laws and amendments have been passed by Crossbell's government in the past 10 years? But of course, while I don't have the exact figure in front of me, I would estimate about 50 in total. Only 50 in 10 years? Why? How can that be? That's an average of just 5 a year. Perhaps, though, that the rate has been trending upwards in recent times. That's not necessarily a negative thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If there's nothing wrong with in place, then there's no need to amend it. There have been 12 laws passed in the last year, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, though admittedly, many of those were merely amendments to existing financial and orbital network provisions. Regardless, I think it's clear that we cannot assume a meaningful new security framework would be so promptly implemented. As I suspected, it would be wiser to seek affirmative solutions in the interim. I wholeheartedly agree. My, I hadn't realized the two of you had become such close bedfellows. Perhaps you'd care to settle the territorial dispute over the North Highlands as well while you're at it. Ha ha ha, point well taken, Your Highness. We'll have to leave discussing that matter for another day. The time is growing short, gentlemen. I'd advise we move on to another point of discussion. Very well then, as proposed by His Excellency, let us now review. This is bad. It's exactly what Mr. Grimwood warned us would happen. The Blood and Iron Chancellor and President Rocksmith are going knives out on Crossbell as we speak. Is there nothing the Mayor or Speaker can say in objection? Unfortunately, it's as they stated, Crossbellian state law has more than a few structural flaws. That's what makes it so difficult for my grandfather and my uncle to deny what they're saying. Maybe, but the major powers themselves are the ones who built those flaws into Crossbell during its founding 70 years ago. They have no right to use that against us to force their own agenda. They scripted things down to go down like this from the very beginning. As I've told you before, the discourse of the conference room itself has nothing to do with us. Keep your heads on straight and see to it that we make it through the rest of the day. Sorry. Should we begin another patrol in that case? First Division, this is Dudley. Emma, has something? What? What's going on? Red Constellation and Hayaway are both on the move. They've already shaken off their surveillance. No. Are you serious? Settle down. There's nothing we aren't prepared for. Stay alert. I'll keep you posted of any more developments. Yes, that's right. We should begin by mobilizing our officers in reserve. Damn. So this is really going down, huh? What the hell are they planning? Randy. Keep your cool, Randy. We know the Red Constellation wouldn't try to pull something here at the conference. Right. The brunt of the police force is protecting the entrance of the building. You don't suppose they're about to pick a fight with each other now, of all times? Everything we've managed to figure out so far says that's unlikely. I beg your pardon. Your Excellency, might I ask you to repeat yourself? I'm praying with each and every fiber of my being that I simply misheard you. I'll gladly say it as many times as you require. Disband the Crossbell Guardian Force. Then, in its place, station security forces from abroad permanently within the state. That is the most logical course of action. Now just wait a damn moment. Surely you aren't forgetting the terms of the Non-Aggression Pact, Chancellor. Perish the thought. We agreed not to use force to solve disputes in or over Crossbell. This, however, is not an attempt at invasion. I merely state the obvious. A useless pseudo-military that loses control and threatens its own people's lives is better off dissolved. In practice, the Crossbell Guardian Force is inconsequential when placed before the Imperial or even Republican armies. The CGF armored cars may as well be made of paper compared to a true tank. To say nothing of the drain on Crossbelly and Mira they cost to maintain, leave matters of state security to foreign military forces. That is the best and most cost-efficient solution for a mere autonomous territory. I would consider that far too radical of an option. And just how would you propose these foreign military forces be designated? Do you, the Chancellor of Erebonia, plan on nominating the Imperial Army? That'd be a rather tone-deaf, historically speaking. I don't recall saying anything of the sort. But now that you bring it up, I am willing to forgive Crossbell's past transgressions and offer the Imperial Army's aid if necessary. It's a small price to pay for the sake of peace in Western Zumeria, wouldn't you say? Settle down, everyone. There's no reason to get so worked up. I agree the Chancellor's proposal is a bit, shall we say, drastic. I do, however, share his opinion that the CGF leaves much to be desired. It is wholly inadequate when it comes to state security. Oh, what would you propose then? This is only a suggestion, but I would advise a mass reduction of the Guardian Force's numbers to start. In exchange, Calvert can assume responsibility for Tangrim Gate, while Erebonia does the same for Belgard Gate. That way, either army would be able to respond to emergencies statewide, whether they occur here in Crossbell City or otherwise. That's hardly an improvement, Mr. President. Hardly an improvement is still an improvement. Although I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with lending military aid to their respective border gates. I don't necessarily see that. I don't really see that as inherently being a problem, but it could potentially be one. Even so, it is worth consideration. You're an impressive man, President Rocksmith. You managed to be an excellent statesman and leader, all while fending off a staunch political opposition. Not compared to you, Chancellor. You're reforming an entire empire while suppressing the influence of disgruntled nobles. This can't be happening. I've heard enough. Might I remind you that there are more than 2 countries participating in this conference? Pardon me, Your Highness. The President and I have gotten a bit sidetracked now that our discussion has progressed thus far. Would you two mind giving us your opinions of the idea? This is terrible. Absurd is more like it. That takes some serious balls to spout any of this with a straight face. I hate to say it, but it's not as though their proposals don't have any basis. Still, I was hoping things wouldn't come to this. At this point, all we can do is hope the Speaker and the Mayor can stand their ground. Now of all times. Bannings? It's Sergey. Chief Sergey, what's going on? No time, I'll keep it short. Sonia just called me. The anti-aircraft radars installed near Tangram and Belgard Gate were destroyed. The same ones being used to detect any potential invading ships in Crossbell airspace. What? She suspects it's the work of the terrorist force. I've already filled Dudley in. As for you guys, be careful, get ready. Roger. What's wrong? Is it my uncle and the others? Not them, it was... Please, everyone, may I have your attention? Regarding your concerns over Crossbell's domestic security, I'd like to offer my own suggestion. Oh? I thought you'd be staying a bit too quiet. Let's hear it. What do you propose? Thank you. I was thinking... Everyone, get down! Yeah, that is not getting down, and that bulletproof glass is not going to last and hold up forever. Get on the floor! Adios, preserve us. Is it the terrorists? How did they even get here? Be at ease, everyone. These glasses are bulletproof. But to be safe, I must urge you to bow back away from the windows. And, you know, get down and get out of the fucking room because those windows ain't going to hold up. Bullet resistant. And that's not going to withstand anti-material rounds. There's airships just now. One of them was a high-speed Reinford model. Yes, I'm sure of it. The other was a Verne Company military gunship. This aligns with the reports we received that one had been stolen. Is everyone alright? Thank the goddess. Where did those fiends go? Good. You should be able to hear me now. Attention, conference attendees. Allow me to introduce ourselves. We are the Imperial Liberation Front. And we represent the anti-immigration faction seeking to protect the traditions and sanctity of our beloved Calvard. I don't believe it. The two terrorist groups menacing the Empire and Republic, working together. Our causes have seen fit to form an alliance, such that we may topple the respective blights that plague us. Prepare yourself, blood and iron, Chancellor Gileath Osborne, and President Rocksmith. Today you will meet your end. To protect the time-worn heritage of Calvard from the despicables of the what? To protect our time-worn heritage of our Calvard from the disciples of the East, we will stop at nothing. Preposterous, utter drivel. Yeah, but this ain't looking too good. Here they come. They're gonna land on top. Well, I know what we're doing next time. I know that these past two episodes have been nothing but a bunch of talk and politics. I do apologize, but whenever political comments are going to come up in these games, I'm gonna put my own perspective into it. That's just what I'm going to do. It's relevant. For those wondering my own political leanings, I'm conservative. And I'm an isolationist. Fuck the entire rest of this world and let them fight to the death. I don't fucking care what happens to Europe, Canada, whatever. The only country that matters to me is the United States. I care not for a bunch of war hawks wanting our money and our military to fight their battles for them. This is what the blueprints were for. But never mind that. Contact the CGF unit on standby and have them... What? Apparently they're going to be out fighting on the front. What the hell? Why did they close? What in the world is going on? Well, it looks like the CGF is going to be handling the lower levels. What in God's name is going on? How's a girl supposed to get a case on a headline like this? Do something, Rhines. What do you want me to do? This is far from ideal. Orchis Tower security system must be under their control. This is likely the work of the hacker from yesterday. Let's move. To the 35th floor, we have to protect the dignitaries. Like I said, I'm going to be doing this next time on Trails to Azure. Join me then as I put a stop to a bunch of terrorists. But until then, I am the Dark Seraph, signing off. Goodbye.